Okay. Hey, folks, sorry for the late start. Today it is March the 4th, and we are going to continue on with part of our discussion on the Constitution, specifically the amendments. And so last class, we talked through Amendment 11 through, what was the final amendment we went over? Was it 17?
Yeah.
Like 11 through 17? Right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and let's see about which other ones we're going to go through today. So let me open up the Google Classroom, not the Gulag Classroom.
The G-Lag, you know what's missing in it? The G-Lag.
Yeah, please keep in mind there's going to be no school next week because of the spring break thing. So let's hope this one doesn't have the country shut down. So. I mean, if it does, I gotta admit, I found myself kind of working harder at home, but I love being home. So I don't know. It's just
I don't know. Next week seems like a bombshell about to blow. The masks got unmandated, so there's no more masks, and it's spring break in Texas. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I bet most places are still going to ask you.
I don't know. I don't know. Now that would be a bit of a topsy-turvy turn because this stuff has been. Hey, welcome. We're about to start. This stuff has been under state. Too loud. So this stuff has been over state recognition as far as like states' rights on how these things are handled, but it could be pulled back federally. I would guess. I don't know what power they could use, like another national emergency power, but I don't know. So let's see. So somebody told me we were going to, and y'all are some chatty catties. All right.
If everyone in the classroom, please close your mouths.
All right. So. What?
Did you hear that they're trying to lower the voting age again?
Lower it again?
Yeah.
Oh, that
What?
Yeah.
They're lowering it?
That's that's something that's been attempted for like. And the thing is, hypothetically, states have the right to do that. A state could do that, lower the voting age.
Yeah, but they're doing it. Why?
Oh, nationally?
God, I think you should.
Well, they're
be
also
like
flirting with
30
adding new states. So. See how that goes. But the Constitution specifically says the seat of the federal government may not be a state. We read that. So, oh no, they're taking it. That should take an amendment.
Also, there's a lot of arguments about splitting up states too. Don't forget about that.
Some say that even states like Texas are too big to have just one state government. California and stuff like that. So
I honestly don't think Texas is different because even though we have something like different types of people, it's I don't know how to explain it, but it's a bit of Texas nationalism. Everyone says, "Yeah, I'm from Texas." Yeah, I'm from Texas.
we have a big shared culture. Yeah. Let's see. Wait, how many have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 15 kids. Okay, so great. So we can make them essentially partners. Yeah.
But that's Texas. But Texans are known for their pride. Texas pride. Yeah, and our stupidity too. So that's Florida. That's Texas.
All right, folks. Wow. Woe to those who get that one. All right, so we're going to start with Amendment 18. So go ahead and grab a Super Friend partner. One group is going to have 3 because there's 15, but we're doing 7. So that's, divide 15 by 7, you got a remainder of 1, right? So or 15 by 2.
That was for your partner. What? Mr. Weiner, you say what? Michael.
Dear Lori, thank you for these noodles. Raw man.
Michael, what's
You are banned from the internet. All right. All right. So, hey, you guys have 18. Y'all have 19. Y'all are legal. 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24.
Wait, we have 21?
18. All right, I'm going to give you some time to read over your amendment. Let me get my phone timer. After you read over it, we're going to have you educate us on what this is. So there you go. Yeah. If you need to, after you read it, if you need to Google an opinion because you don't understand, that's fine. Then ask me here.
The right is no. Yes. Okay, so. Okay, I'll use that. I'll use this one.
Okay.
This one makes people.
Yeah, we
There
don't.
was a lot of smoking years ago. Actually, was born in 1919. Can I open this?
Why not?
Okay.
You gonna shower with it?
I'll do section, I'll do section
Then you're fine.
I'll go with section.
I guess I'll do
You have that for everybody?
I was talking about
Chill out.
Sorry. Yeah, if you brought us like some grass-fed Kobe beef for everybody, then you would.
That would be expensive though.
We don't worry about money here. This is government class.
I do.
Money was last semester. We don't care about that. We care about the quality of outcomes with our states.
The quality of outcome sucks.
Sure. Yeah, as long as you're not facing activity.
He's too funny.
It's in the office after you.
Yeah. Isn't that the 14th amendment that made it anybody, any color vote, right?
Yeah, you're high.
And 5 amendments later, we made any gender vote.
Yeah, the women's, yeah.
Even for the 2 vote.
Well, what about
Uno, dos.
It is raining now. Congress and the Senate shall have inherent power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
What does that mean?
I've seen all years if you're number one.
Then read mine.
It's fine, let's go.
Really?
When? Wait. What? Prohibition was a thing?
What?
Yeah.
The mafia definitely did it.
I get that he's.
I'm back. Good job. That was a fast 30 minutes.
Shut up. You're.
It's funny because people would sail to the Bermudas and the Bahamas and all that to pick up rum and alcohol and then sail back to Florida on little dinghies. Miami became very famous for their alcohol.
Well, people still smuggle today. I mean, just to evade taxes. I mean, and boats and airplanes are the way people did it still. Of course, not to the airports. If you have to Like only a dummy would smuggle anything through the airport. Gosh, that's
That
dumb.
was so funny.
That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, just ridiculous. Now, if I had a private airplane, not that I would.
I don't, the thing that bothers me the most is good morning at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I cannot stand that.
Say like good morning at like 10 p.m.
Yeah, like, why not? Totally shut up. No. I don't care. I'll just do whatever I want.
You okay?
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty abrupt. I wasn't even like, see, I'm not paying attention to Michael's picture book.
We got a short, we got amendment number 19. And, it's one very, one sentence.
I think
It's like checking a box on a multi-answer on an essay.
Checking that.
Thank you for you.
Every time.
Yeah. Does anybody need more time? It's okay. Timer's still going. I just, just thought of that. Yeah, you're right. That internet is so low.
Well, better than was earlier. I couldn't even open anything. Said internet connection and ruined it.
I see.
They're gone forever.
So anyways, then the thing is, I got naked and didn't realize they walked in, right? I think I got one.
Mr. White here.
Yeah, you are Mr. White.
Yes.
Wow. They said, I am Mr. White. That's my sweet word. Any other questions, sir? Sorry. Probably wasn't that important, right? But it'll feel important. Yeah.
I have flying to El Paso with my dad on Sunday.
Wow, that's a trip, man.
Where are you flying?
El Paso.
Oh, you're flying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna drive.
It's because my dad got a car crash in Pecos, and they had to like put the car in El Paso, which is the next biggest city.
Yeah.
It was a big truck and it broke the axle, so we've been out of the car for a while.
Hey.
We had to rent one. We had to rent one in Longview, and we're now using that one. But eventually we need to get it back. But we can't just drive the rental over there, leave the rental, and come back.
Yeah.
So we're flying to get the car and then drive back.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, because that's a long drive. Like the furthest west I've driven in Texas is San Angelo. That was far enough. I was like,
First west side, which was like 2 weeks ago.
man. Agree. Yeah. Man.
I saw my first dust storm. I saw some tumbleweeds. Also became exposed to radar, which is pretty cool.
I like the ones that
Because we also when it decided, hey, since we're here, we might as well go to New Mexico.
just a guy sweating.
So we went to the Carlsbad Tavern. Apparently there was a radar leak. Not
Can't
so
see
long
that
ago.
Fortnite skin.
Yummy.
Fortnite skin.
All right, folks, we got 1 minute left, and then we're going to begin according to my timer.
Bring me those vocal cords. This I can sit there.
You okay? Is he disturbing you?
Yes.
My feet are on the floor. You can't even.
There you go. See, now we're good friends. Good friends. Good friends.
Vocal cords. Stop. Bring me those vocal cords. Is my friend? Bring me that steak. But sir, it's not even finished cooking. Bring me that steak.
What do you mean it's finished cooking? All you gotta do is throw it on the grill for like 5 minutes, flip it over, and boom.
Bring me that steak.
You're
Bring me that
done.
McChicken sandwich.
Oh,
Sir,
dude,
it's
the
a
new
McChicken
chicken
sandwich.
New chicken
Bring me that
McDonald's.
McChicken sandwich.
Yeah, but it tastes like.
I cooked myself some deer steaks the other day.
It tastes like
Neat.
the Chick-fil-A sandwich, just watered down.
All right.
Like there's not as much seasoning.
That's timer, kids. Your timer. So, hey, let's go ahead and let's
My wife
be
called them-
educated by group 1 over here
Oh, yes.
on Amendment 18. So,
I know, start us off.
1917 ratified, 1919. Go ahead and tell us about
All
it.
right, so section 1 basically just states alcohol was prohibited,
Mhm.
like selling, manufacturing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Gone.
Take it away, legend.
John.
The Congress in several states shall have concurrent power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Go ahead, Joey. Basically, the last section just says that to get rid of this, you're gonna have to get a lot of people on board.
Yep. And you see concurrent power, that means both federal and state governments can work on this. They're saying like, we want the full power of the government against liquor. Now it's funny too, you see that, like I said before in this class, in 1919, 100 years ago, they thought that prohibiting a consumer item could only be done through a Constitution amendment. But today, we have a lot of prohibited items that are not through constitutional.
Marijuana, black tar, heroin.
Well, no, I'm not even like dangerous things or illicit things. Like there's a lot of things like as far as like rather benign medicines too that have no known side effects. You're not allowed to get, because of control.
You're also not, for a while, you weren't able to get the Kinder Egg surprises since they're technically,
Black tar chicken sandwich. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
they're technically toys hidden inside the chocolate, which could cause some trouble. Therefore, it was illegal.
So I'd be fine.
We've come a long way. All right, so probably the longest one of the day. So the 19th Amendment ratified in 1920.
So basically, everyone has the right to vote regardless of gender.
And Congress can enforce this amendment any way necessary.
Yeah, that's right. So they finally, the suffragette movement caught up. But it's one of those things that it had some violent resistance in America, but not nearly like in England. But in any case, it was ratified, which means it was men who voted that they wanted this as well. So it wasn't, you could think of that as a very inclusive movement whenever people vote for others on such a large scale to have the right to vote.
I remember the prohibition thing. There was just one woman who went around to all these like secret saloon, all these saloons and bars and everything, and she wielded a hatchet.
Molly Hatchet, when they were, yeah.
And everybody was scared of her. Like, why is there just a random woman holding a hatchet? Why is she aiming at the barrels, not the beer?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. She didn't care if she got arrested either.
And she did get arrested, and then whenever she got back out, she went right back to doing what she was doing.
Well, there was a lot of people who were very upset about alcohol. It was one of those things that was probably the one social movement that united North and South. Like because there was a lot of women in particular who were abused by drunk husbands, or they get drunk and spend all the family's food money and stuff, and bring home STDs and all kinds of problems, So alcohol was seen as like the problem of the day, One good thing about prohibition, it did actually lower the amount of alcohol-related deaths in America for a while. So it kind of worked.
But then the deaths that were involved, it was because people were trying to brew moonshine and it would cause them to get literally so drunk they would go blind.
Yeah, you create a law, you create crime. Unfortunately. All right, so Amendment 20. Hey, guys. Shh.
So, there's a lot of sections, but,
Yeah.
section 1 just says when the terms of the vice president and president will end.
Mm-hmm.
Section 2 says that Congress has to assemble at least once a year.
Yeah, they can't take off.
Section 3 is like when the vice president should take over for the president, what terms that's on.
Now, I did 4, 5, and 6. Okay, why is this so long?
Well, because they were trying to fix all. Like here's the thing. You see, this is 1933. This is after they're going to have a lot of problems regarding. Like they're talking about when the vice president could take over. So they had Woodrow Wilson in mind too. This is during the Great Depression. This is when they're trying to fix a lot of problems to do with the nation. Like everyone's like, FDR, fix this. He was trying to fix
Well,
this.
so section 4 is basically Congress can clarify what will happen if the House of Representatives has to choose the president and like one of the people they choose dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, like when would that ever end? Say for vice president.
Yeah. So they're just looking for like, I don't know, if a bomb goes off. And there were terroristic bombings at this time. There were.
Okay, so section 5 and 6 are literally pointless. Section 5 is like just saying when 1 and 2 will happen.
Okay.
And that's section 5. Section 6 is just saying that if this isn't approved, it'll be invalid.
So
Okay. Yeah. I mean, well, we already
does
know
that
that.
mean that this is where the chain of command started?
Yeah. Essentially, like that's when you think about, like, well, what if the president and the vice president are gone? So
Then it
who's
was
that?
the House, then it was the head of
That's
the
right.
House, and then it was all the way down to like the smallest person.
Yep.
The janitor.
The janitor. There you go. Or a
It goes all the way
charter
down.
school, high school teacher. No, I wouldn't want that.
Literally, it goes all the way down. So that way we always have someone in charge.
Wait,
If
did
that
that
person
mean that
fails,
Mr. Whitener is
next
on the
person
list somewhere?
that person
No,
and keep going.
I would
Literally
try.
everyone else dies but Mr. Whitener.
They would hate me because they wouldn't work with me. I just essentially get
Mr.
locked
Whitener,
out.
if that happened, everyone else would be dead. Like,
Yeah.
you're the only person who's able
Great.
to. So
I'd be
like,
king
you're on the
nothing.
chain of command somewhere.
I just wear a crown on a little
He's on the
island.
bottom of the list.
All right, Amendment 21. So go ahead, guys.
Alright, section 1. The
20, oh, yeah.
18th Amendment doesn't exist anymore. Section 2, you can't transport alcohol.
Shh, guys. Uh-huh.
Section 2 also says you can't import or transport. Can't go
Okay.
in, can't go out, as long as it's alcohol. And then section 3 is basically saying these sections will have hold until Congress decides not to.
And they're saying if it's in violation of the law. So, like there is very strict laws on, say, like you can't, like this way you gotta have liquor licenses and stuff like that. You can't mail order like a rum, like a I don't know, a barrel of rum,
You can't just send that anywhere you want.
Why?
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Well, sorry, Charlie, but they are allowed to make laws regulating that. All right, so Amendment 22.
So section 1 is basically saying that the president can't serve more than 2 terms.
Yeah.
And different rules regarding that is if there's one that would already serve as some duties as president, they can't be president or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And that the amendment doesn't apply to the current president and that they can serve out the 2 years, 2 terms and whatever.
Yeah, all this comes after FDR's presidency. They're like, wow, do we really want a guy to win the presidency 4 times again? Isn't that a little much? So, yes.
So this law was instituted after the previous one, where how the chain of command worked. So what if a president decided to become, I'll just become head of the House, or I'll become the representative of my state again. And let's say the terroristic bottom plot happens,
Mhm.
which only the head of the house, which only that representative remains. Would they become president again?
I imagine so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially in a national emergency, you'd have to have the chain of command get taken up by somebody, like, when you think about practical terms. But let's hope that didn't happen. Yeah, because that's part of a book I just read, like about an asteroid hitting the Earth. And part of it was like the chain of command who became president, and it wound up just being like some nobody on it. But it didn't really matter. Most of the country was destroyed anyway. So.
My dad was starting to watching a TV show not so long ago. I think it was something like that, where something happened to all the heads of state, everything, and he was like the last person left. He was just random government worker.
I see. Dance moms. Hey, Amendment 23. So let's go ahead.
Okay, wherever the government district resides, they get the same amount of electors as the smallest state, never exceeding for voting for the president and vice president.
Yeah.
The
So-
government district gets,
Go ahead, man.
they have the same duties. So. And then the section 2 says, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
Yeah, so they're getting presidential electors, right, for DC. Yeah. Not senators, not Congress people. No, none of those Congress critters. All right. So, and then we have 24, right?
Yes.
Yes, we do. All right. What it is?
A person can't be denied.
Okay.
A person can't be denied the right to vote because they owe a poll tax or any kind of tax.
Yeah. So this is one of those laws that's trying to get rid of those pesky old Jim Crow laws, right? So you can't make people pay to vote. It's supposed to be something that doesn't have economic barriers. Just because you're a poor citizen doesn't mean you're a lesser citizen, right? So equality of opportunity. So, all right, kids, very good. You are all now constitutional scholars. Go forth and make your fortune. We will go over the last three after spring break, and then we're going to move on to our next thing. All right, so see you later, kids. Make sure you turn in your work.